Well, you've actually said there was a story about a hit.
Right.
Okay. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so there's, Keefe D claims that there is this ongoing conversation. It happens on 3 different occasions. But most specifically when he and Puffy are at this place called Greenblatt's Deli on Sunset. And they're there, things have spiraled out of control. Puffy's really concerned about, you know, the welfare of his safety. And he tells Keefe D, man, I just need you to take care of this situation with Suge and Tupac. It's out of control. You know, Tupac's on vinyl talking about killing all of our kids when they grow up. And, you know, it's just, it's just become this really serious conflict. And he says, I just need you to take care of him. And Keefe D's like, that's no problem. You know, that's what we do. And so an agreement was made, according to Keefe D, for an amount of money. And they kind of just let it go at that point in time. But of course, Keefe D knows in the back of his mind, this is what Puffy wants done. And they all end up out in Las Vegas. Suge's out there.
Well,
yeah.
before you say that, there's a couple things I want to talk about for Vegas. So when you say that Keefe got offered an amount of money, according to him, was there a dollar amount?
Yeah, so there was a dollar amount. But I think that, you know, the nuances of this conversation are that, like, man, I'll give you $1 million, whatever it takes. You know, it's like exaggerated speech. But of course, when we interview Keefe D, he's like, yeah, that's what the agreement amount was, $1 million.
So according to Keefe, he's claiming that Puffy offered him $1 million to kill Suge or Tupac?
Both
or
of
both.
them. Yeah, both their names came up. And according to Keefe D, he says, you know, Tupac's put himself on the list by all the shit talking that he was doing. But it was really about Suge, because it was Suge's muscle that Puffy was afraid of. He was afraid of what Suge could do with the people that, the likes of a Buntry. You know, those are serious guys.
You know, from your point of view as a police officer, a former police officer, does this constitute a hit, or is it just a person who's scared? It was like, yo, I'll do whatever it takes, just get rid of these guys, and I don't want to know about it.
That's a great question. I mean, there's certainly a solicitation, and there's an agreement, and so that's what constitutes solicitation for murder, and which, you know, is a crime. But I also understand the nuances of Puffy's fear, you know, and is he just speaking out his ass? Is it exaggerated speech? Whatever. But the conflict was real. It was a life or death game that was going on between these guys. So for Keefe D, who understands that as well as anybody, he understands it as a true solicitation for murder.
Okay. Now, Mob James, as well as other people, like, you know, some of the Outlaws, I think Napoleon from the Outlaws said it, and possibly some other members, there was an overall understanding that there was a 10K bounty on Death Row Chains that came from Puffy.
Word was on the streets that Puffy and Bad Boy was doing a video, and they was paying anyone to bring back a Death Row chain. So Pac looked at it like, this is deeper than Bloods and Crip. This is my enemies. You know, Puffy and them attacking us now because I'm with Death Row. So words on the street that if you bring back this Death Row chain so we can put in our video, this was the words on the street.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like when I asked Mob James, he said there was. Like, he said it very confidently. There was bounties on Death Row chains.
Yeah.
10,000, I think?
$10,000.
Right. Your mom had a Death Row chain.
She had a little bitty one.
Right.
Yeah. Well, they were snatching those.
Right, and there was no doubt this understanding that there was a bounty. We've never been able to track that down to a source where said I was there when an agreement was made, but that was the understanding on the street and among these people, was that there was a bounty for the chain. And of course we see that becomes real at the Lakewood Mall when Orlando Anderson tries to snatch Trayvon Lane's chain.
Right, so a fight happens in the mall, and they try to take Trayvon Lane's chain, who's affiliated with Mob Piru and Death Row.
Right.
But I guess they don't actually take the chain.
Yeah, I think they do take it. They get it off of him, but then during the Donnybrook whatever, he gets it back. He claims he got it back, and so there's no reason to believe he didn't. We never found that chain, at Orlando Anderson's house or anything like that, but certainly If it wasn't an attempt, then they did actually secure it and then lost it back to Trayvon Lane. And it's important to remember that this Trayvon Lane is the person directly, aside Tupac Shakur when they confront Orlando Anderson again in Las Vegas.
Right, and Trayvon Lane, Orlando Anderson is Keefe D's nephew.